WWE, let's just put this out there, they'd massively benefit from a Brock Lesnar return. Okay, this is pretty obvious. So right now, Triple H just came out in a little interview and was asked about how close Brock Lesnar is to a potential return to WWE, and he said the following. You'd have to ask Brock Lesnar that. Brock does his own thing. He's up in Canada, I'm sure, watching his kids play hockey and enjoying life. If and when he decides that he'd like to do so, we'd be open to the conversation, but we'll see. So look, based on that, you can kind of tell. All right, so they're definitely open to bringing Brock back. And they're probably hinting that Brock is going to be coming back at one point or another. And he's not banished away from the company like Vince McMahon, and nor should he be, because Brock didn't do anything wrong. Vince is shady, and we all know Vince is shady, but Brock did nothing wrong. Brock had consensual relations with a woman, consensual interactions with a woman. This has nothing to do with him. He shouldn't be shamed. He's not guilty of anything. He hasn't been convicted of anything. We still have no real idea how he's guilty of anything in this part. So, yeah, this has gotten frustrating. Let's just bring Brock. Let's bring him back. Because, and let me just add this too. Currently, right now, it's borderline impossible to add a main eventer to SmackDown or to add a main eventer to WWE currently. Right? It is hard as fuck to make a main eventer, and it's very hard to just add a main eventer. You could basically add no one in the world right now outside of a select few guys who were formerly in WWE. And other than those guys, and I'll name them for you: Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley. You know what I mean? Those two, maybe, and a couple other guys off the top of my head would be potential main eventers automatically in WWE. But you basically can never add any guys. So look, Brock Lesnar is an obvious choice to return. It's an obvious pick. Bring him back. He'd add so much. There's plenty of stories to tell. And if you added him to Raw, there's plenty of people he could put over right now. There's plenty of people who are entering that main event scene that he'd be able to put over, okay? But let me just give you my top 5 matches for him. We're just going to go over this real fast. Okay, the first one is pretty obvious. Oba Femi, okay? This is, I mean, come on. Powerhouse versus powerhouse. And Oba Femi is a real powerhouse. We do not have enough of these guys in WWE. He is very convincing. And he looks the part, too. So, yeah, this is an easy one. And he could put Oba Femi over, I don't know, in 1 or 2 matches. So, I mean, that's just an easy one. They look the part. It's a heavyweight versus heavyweight match. The other very obvious one is Braun Breaker. Okay, again, heavyweight versus heavyweight battle. It's a new generation Brock Lesnar versus old generation Brock Lesnar. That's a story you could probably tell with that. That's an easy match to pull. That's gonna get tons and tons of fanfare. If you do it at WrestleMania, that becomes one of your headline matches. It's like that's such an easy match to push. And again, Braun Breaker wins. You're putting him over. You're massively putting him over. It's so easy. And they'd have a slam dunk match. It'd be less than 10 minutes. And it would just be a heavyweight brawl. You wouldn't need weapons. You wouldn't need to do flippy doopy, stupid bullshit. You would just have 2 powerhouses going at it with one another. It's an easy match. The third match is Gunther. Okay, this has already been clamored for and talked about by Gunther, by fans. It's a really easy match to pull, and it's one that, yeah, guess what? Tons of people are going to give a fuck about. And guess what? If Gunther ends up winning the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam, there's basically no reason why you couldn't do this match at this pay-per-view, or a Saudi pay-per-view specifically. You could do this match easily. And there'd be tons of fanfare, and there's 2 heavyweights, 2 main eventers. Once again, it's the same scenario, except Gunther is a world heavyweight champion in this scenario, and everyone's going for it. Everyone's into the idea of this. So it's, again, like, why would you not bring Brock Lesnar back? I'm just like, it's so bizarre. People are so bizarre. Only the soy idiots online who are going off about the Janelle Grant bullshit still think that, yeah, we need to banish Brock. It's like, go fuck yourselves. Like, be real. There's a couple other matches, all right? So those are the first 3, and they're pretty obvious. And I wanted to pick this one because I just think this guy would massively benefit. And he matches up well from a size standpoint. Damian Priest. Heavyweight versus heavyweight brawl. Priest could be the babyface because it kind of looks like he's entering his babyface stage of his wrestling career. You could do a heavyweight versus heavyweight match. And again, Priest gets to go over against a real main eventer, a real star of the company. So he's someone who would benefit. Priest would benefit. Priest is already benefiting from beating McIntyre, beating Rollins, or beating Jey Uso. He'd hugely benefit from a match with Brock Lesnar. It's again another moment where you could put Priest over and create a real star in your company, a real main eventer. And he's entering that stage currently, but you'd create a real main eventer in the process. And then for the wild cards, so those are the 4 I'd maybe very much go for. And they're the 4 that I'm most interested in. There is another one. This has already occurred, obviously, but it never occurred in real time with real fans. I'd love to, or maybe it did in a different pay-per-view, but it never. Obviously, WrestleMania didn't happen this way. I'd love to see Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar again. Heavyweight versus heavyweight brawl, except Drew McIntyre's character has so much more depth to him now. It's crazy. His character is now very real. It's entering a real stage, and he's got so much more heat now than ever. He's so much more interesting. The story would be so much more interesting. Drew wouldn't have to be the ultimate babyface. trying to beat the Giant, slay the Giant. No way. Drew would be established, and he could be the heel, and he could be a fucking punk the whole time. ignore that. But and he could be on his shit. And I just think, oh man, this is an easy. You could do this match again. You could do this feud again, except do it the other way around. Let Drew be the heel, and let Drew kind of go in on Brock more. I think this is, oh man, he could really go in on Brock. Call him a part-timer. Call him a bunch of names. I mean, call him a bunch of shit. Say maybe call him a steroid user or some shit. I don't know, but. He could really go in on Brock, and I just, you could see this. I could see this matchup again. The other two wild cards were Logan Paul. I'm not very interested in this match because you can't sell me on Logan beating Brock. You couldn't. Logan's smaller, like considerably smaller. Not that he's small, but Logan's about 215, 220. Brock's a beast, man. Brock's a fucking giant. So I don't know. You're not selling me on it, but it'd be cool. It's a celebrity versus Brock, and I think that's something that people, might clamor for, and it might get a lot of traction, honestly. A lot of people might be like, oh my god, can Logan Paul, what's he going to do, or how badly he's going to get his ass beaten by Brock Lesnar. And then this is my last one. I'm just going to throw it out there. You could do the Cody rematch. You could do a title rematch with Cody. It just gives Cody another feud, because if Cody does end up beating Solo, I just don't know what's going to be left for him on SmackDown. I think they're going to do him versus AJ Styles again at one point for a third round, but I just don't think there's a lot left for Cody. There's not a lot of good matchups on SmackDown, so doing a one-off with Brock might not hurt, even though they already did this match 3 times last year. It might not hurt to do it in Saudi Arabia, and Cody would obviously win, so who cares? And it could be over and done with, but it's an easy match to pull. And it's a simple concept. You do it one time and kind of get it done. And then the last two guys I didn't throw in here because I think they're just too unrealistic. I wanted to say LA Knight. Get himself over against Brock, but yeah, I'm not really into that one because LA Knight's way too small. So it just doesn't, you can't buy that. You're not going to buy that. So no way. And then Sami Zayn, I like this one because Sami Zayn already has the the underdog story. That's sort of his character. He's an ultimate underdog, but it's a reach. It's a reach. You're really destroying Brock's character with this type of matchup. Sami Zayn's not good enough. He's never won a world title either, so he's not built in enough to, as a character in kayfabe to really do this. So I think it's pretty obvious. Those other matchups, the first 3, Brock versus Oba, Braun, Gunther, and Priest. And then I'd say, yeah, consider Drew McIntyre too. Highly consider that rematch because Drew McIntyre's character's got way more depth than ever before. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, definitely bring him back. You don't get a lot of main eventers ever in WWE. It's hard to get them. It's hard to make them. It's hard to bring them in. So